have to leave or the echo is just horrible if I try to come on from my phone too, but.
45 seconds until we go live, and I'll give you the sign, Ingrid, then I'll mute so you can go through everything. Yeah.
Melissa, can you use your computer's audio instead of your phone audio?
I am using my computer audio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm off my phone now. I just, my school town Munster laptop gets this blue screen of, I don't even know. It just happens like every, I don't know, 20 minutes or so when I'm on it, so.
We will be beginning in like 5 seconds, Kurt, so you can go live with it right now.
Okay, we're going live.
And Ingrid, we are good to start.
Okay. I would like to call this April 13th board meeting to order. Please note, roll call, all board members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Trippenfeldis does have a flag in his screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that was interesting, but thank you all for your patience. I would like to read a quick statement. As you can see, this regularly scheduled April board meeting is in a video conference format. This is in accordance with the Governor Holcomb's executive order pertaining to the open door policy. The order suspends the requirement that governing bodies of public agencies need to be physically present together to hold a public meeting. It allows us to hold a public meeting by video conference if we have a quorum of board members and that our meeting is made available to the public and the media. We have met those requirements tonight. I would like to thank our administration, our technical guru, Kurt Popovich, and our attorney, Angela Jones, for their coordinated efforts that have allowed us to legally gather this evening. And to my fellow board members, will you please state your name after you offer a motion or make a second so that Deb Hayes can accurately record our proceedings. Item 1.5, all comments tonight from the public may be submitted to publiccomment@munster.us. The board will review these at a later date. Mr. Trippenfeldis, can you go over the consent agenda, please?
Tripp, you're on mute.
Thank you. I forgot to do that. Dr. Schwartz, I will go through the agenda items for the consent agenda, including items 2.1 through 2.4. We will begin with item 2.1, the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting from March 9th, 2020, which should be showing on people's screens. It's also available through board docs. Item 2.2 is the accounts payable voucher register that was submitted to the board members. 2.3, the approval of the payroll voucher register, which was submitted to board members for review. And the approval of the personnel report, which includes the following retirements, resignations, and recommendations for employment as presented on the screen and also available in board docs for the public to review. So the administration recommends that with one motion and one vote, the board approve consent agenda items 2.1 through and including 2.4 as presented.
Would the board like any of these items to be broken down individually?
No.
No.
All right.
No, thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 2.1 through 2.4 as presented?
I move that items 2.1 through 2.4 are approved as presented. John Doherty. Second, John Castro.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go slow just to give Deb time on all these. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 3.1, payment to the Community Care Network. Can I get a motion to approve the payment to the Community Care Network as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Ron Stupick.
Second, Melissa Higgison.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I abstain, John Doherty.
Motion carries. Item 3.2, can I get a motion to approve the donations as presented?
So moved, Melissa Higgison.
Second, John Castro.
Is there any discussion, or would we like to look at the donations?
If it's okay with the president, I'd like to display the donations because they are a little different this month. The first one on your screen should be the only one that was really a donation to our school. It's $100. And you can see who the donations to the general donation for, I'm looking on my screen here, from Devin Zuck and Pepsi. So that's there, but I want to let Mr. Melby present or speak about the other donations because they're actually donations from the school district, other entities, which are a little different this month. So I'll turn it over to Bill as I put the screens up.
Mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you. As you know, we work with the town of Munster on several projects. You also know that we're working on our fields, the football field and the practice field, and we have donated some of the used turf, the turf that was going to be discarded to the.
We lost Bill.
Did you not hear any of that?
There we go. No, we got that, but you just kind of cut off.
I'll start over, and I don't know where you heard me. So as you know, we work with the town of Munster on several projects. You also know that we are working on our resurfacing our football field and practice field. We have donated some of the used turf to the town of Munster. Otherwise, it would have been discarded.
Well, we did get that all then, so thank you.
Bill, did we keep any of the scrap turf?
Yes, sir. We kept several, about, if I'm not mistaken, 6 rolls. We saw the opportunity to make our facilities look a little bit nicer. We're going to use the used turf in our batting cages, and we're also going to use that to keep our new fields healthier a little bit longer. So in other words, you can put it on a portion of the field and have the people on top of that instead of necessarily on the turf during practice time.
I thought we were keeping some of it for that purpose. Thank you, Bill.
Hey, Bill, if you could do the next one, I have the next one up on the screen for you.
Yes, sir. With the closing of our schools, we had some perishable items, and we asked Chartwells to donate the food and extras to the Food Bank of Northwest Indiana. And we have done that.
Tripp, you're muted again.
Bill, there's another one there. The third one is up if you'd like to address that one.
Yes, the last one is the school town of Munster gathered supplies from the maintenance and our nurses stations. We were looking for PPEs and donated items to community hospital as well.
And Bill, on behalf of the hospital, I'd like to thank the school town for doing that.
We're all in this together. Yes, sir.
That concludes the 4 donations that are there. Obviously, you see the first one was donated to the school. The next 3 were donated from the school.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor and accepting the donations, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining?
John Doherty abstains.
Motion carries. Thank you. Action item 3.3, policy revisions. Can I get a motion to approve policy revisions as presented at the March 9th, 2020 school board meeting?
So moved, John Castro.
Second, Melissa Higgison.
Go ahead.
No, you can go. Melissa Higgison.
Okay, and any discussion?
I would just like to add, we went through these in great detail at the last school board meetings, and they've been available online for anyone to review from that month long. So we're not going to spend the 45 minutes to go over them again, but I want to thank everyone for looking at these very in detail. So I appreciate that.
Mr. Trippenfeldus, were there any changes, even minor ones, grammatical or anything of that nature between the time of the last review and our current opportunity to vote?
Great question. No changes or revisions whatsoever.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 3.4, resolution number 804. Can I get a motion to approve resolution 804 as presented?
So move, Ron Stojic.
Second, Castro.
Okay, and then some discussion?
Can we scroll down to item number 3, please, Steve? Yeah, I'd ask for an example of when this would be necessary for people that are already employed.
I can give one example, and Bill might be able to give an example. We have, as you know, we have all of our teachers working and they're under contract for salary, but we have a lot of our instructional assistants who are working. We are paying them for the hours they normally would work. But if someone happened to work more than what they normally would be being paid for through the e-learning, we want to make sure that we are able to provide additional compensation for those if they need that. So we also have we have some staff members who have to come in on Saturdays and Sundays that we've always given them overtime for with our custodians, which is usually like an hour's worth of work for a building check. We feel that those are going above and beyond, and we want to make sure that we can still provide them the compensation like we normally have for them throughout the school year. And Mr. Melby, can you think?
That's something we normally do anyways, right?
Right. It's something we normally do. Mr. Melby, can you think of any? Those are the first two examples I think off the top of my head. Mr. Melby, is there anything else that you could think of?
No, I would have used the same. Again, the last thing, which we don't know if we may do, but if we do see a time that we need to give somebody some extra duties for some reason, we would want to compensate that. We haven't seen a need as of right now, but we did want to have the flexibility if it did happen.
I'm just concerned that last sentence in particular really gives complete discretion and takes discretion away in terms of spending from the board. So I'm concerned about the broad language here. Not that I dispute anything that you're doing. I just am not comfortable with the language at the end, especially the last sentence of section 3 here.
Maybe we could have Angie Jones make a comment about this.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? I just took myself off mute.
Yes.
I think that we could probably go without this. I think that we have the authority already to do these things, and perhaps if we make an amendment and take that last sentence out, I think I believe we already have the authority given to accomplish this.
So it's redundant at this point?
I think that it is. I guess, if we're talking about additional compensation over what I guess is being said is overtime, then that's a different issue. But if we're just talking about people needing to be paid, we've got to pay them anyway, I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
But this would not limit, because Dr. Hendricks is normally allowed to approve if somebody is working on a weekend, like the custodial team, if they come in and they're working on a weekend, he's already has the authority right now.
I believe that he does.
Okay.
He does have that authority.
Okay. So Angie, we can approve this without number 3 tonight. We can say that.
I would recommend to the board that you amend your motion to approve the resolution, not including the last sentence of subparagraph 3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it
Okay,
does.
so I'll amend my motion on resolution 804 to include all of the document except the last sentence on subparagraph 3 that states the superintendent is authorized to provide appropriate additional compensation if necessary to those employees recalled to work at his discretion. And I ask that be omitted.
Is there a second?
Second, John Doherty.
Any more discussion?
I would just tell you that you'll see those, if there's any overtime paid, you'll see that on your payroll voucher that you'll always see what you guys approve every month. So there shouldn't be an issue with that whatsoever.
No, and I would just add to that. I mean, the agreement as well that line was almost superfluous. And again, this doesn't, the authority is still granted. So I'm comfortable with this as well.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the amended resolution number 804, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 3.5. Can I get a motion to approve the parking lot paving improvements proposal as presented?
I move we approve the parking lot proposal as presented.
Second, John Doherty.
Oh, and that was John Castro making that motion. Sorry.
Okay, and any discussion? Are we going to get a presentation on this?
Bill, you're muted.
Bill, if you want to talk about this, I can scroll through as you talk about it. It is a very lengthy document and it's
Yeah, I'll
available.
give a quick little synopsis. We're looking at projects we can do. Most of our schools have programs or something going on year round. So we found this time to be an opportunity to get our parking lots done. Talking to Jeff Quackenbush, we felt the best step was to contract Jamie Lake for the design, the construction documents, the bidding, and the construction administration for our parking lots. We are looking to we will not necessarily do them all at once, but we're looking to do projects at the high school, middle school, central office, the center, as well as Frank H. Hammond. We're looking at, after this is approved, we'll sit down and set up the best plan on what we're going to get done next.
Do you have a start date in mind for any of them, Bill?
I do believe as soon as this gets approved, we'll probably start our meetings tomorrow with Andy Sargent, Jamie Lake, and we'll start getting a timeline down. We do want to be pretty aggressive and get what we think we should done as soon as possible.
What would be a completion date?
To be quite honest, John, I'm not sure on that. I do not believe we will get all of those projects done over the next 6 months or before the next school year. So I guess if you're saying completion date for everything, it would probably be the summer of next year.
Mr. Melby, looking at this, even the fee proposal, the scope of work, considering this type of project, a month ago, I would have been completely comfortable knowing our financial situation is being what it is. Our team's incredible. You guys have been very responsible, very conservative, and very effective. However, this being very unprecedented times we're experiencing, long-term, I just want to make sure that we're taking all of those factors into consideration, that, you know, not talking about next month or 2 months, but 6 months to a year. Do we have funding we're comfortable in terms of long-term, in terms of any issues we may be facing with tax draws, with things of that nature upcoming?
That's a good question. I do believe we are very in a comfortable position to do these projects. With the presentations that I've given to you in the past of projects that we may be doing, or the plan over the next 2 years, and I told you it will be ever moving. Well, this will be one of those moving parts. We feel getting the parking lots done first is probably a priority over other things, because it's a great opportunity that those parking lots are not being used. So we may have to shuffle some of the things that we've talked about in the past around, but I know we have the money to do these projects. And if we don't, then we cut them down to where we're at, need to be. But I'm very confident that we have the solid plan.
in understanding the nature of our funding and the types of funding we have and the separation of funds, these monies can be used for construction only. So the fact that we employ a project of this nature doesn't mean we're taking away from any classroom, any salaries, anything of that nature.
That's a good point. Again, our plan is still intact, and this money has already been received, and we're supposed to have a spend down time, and we're going to try to stick to that as much as we possibly can.
The types of funding we have. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3.6, the paperwork for renewal paperwork for food service contract. Can I get a motion to approve the renewal paperwork for food service contract as presented?
So moved, Melissa Higgison.
Second, John Doherty.
Thank you. And any discussion?
This is a procedural item that we do every year. Again, we've been with Chartwells for 2 years. So we started this before the pandemic started. We did get approval from the state, and this is the last step in approving them for next year.
Bill, are we making any payments to Chartwells now with school out, and are there any financial obligations we have to them between now and the schedule? What was the scheduled end of the school year?
That's a great question. Yes, sir. We are paying our food service employees, which are really employees of Chartwells, through this time as well.
Okay, any other?
Oh, go ahead, Ingrid.
No, go ahead. I was asking if there's any other discussion.
Oh, I was just going to ask, it seems like this has been a good move. We're a couple of years under our belts now. They've been a good partner for us, and it seems like overall a positive reaction to Chartwells and to what they're doing. And as we're considering this, I just want to touch on that.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Action item 3.7, the e-learning attendance policy. Can I get a motion to approve the e-learning attendance policy as presented?
I move we approve the e-learning policy as presented. John Castro.
Second, Ron Stojic.
And any discussion? Dr. Stokes, did you want to say anything about the attendance?
Yes, I did want to say that this is information that the IDOE is requesting for continuous learning. It is actually information that is due by April 17th. So before we can put a link on our website regarding how we're supporting continuous learning, we did need to have approval from the board regarding how we would handle attendance. So I did want to make it known that this is something that the state is requiring in light of COVID-19.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Financial report, item 4.1, Mr. Melby.
This may be a little bit longer than usual, but I wanted to start by thanking the financial department. They've adapted to working mainly from home to keep businesses as usual mentality. Purchase orders are still being processed and purchases are being approved by email. We are still collecting mail and processing, although we are limiting the trips to help the fight that we are all united in. We have worked with our attorney to develop a plan to reimburse through voucher claims for a few supply items. Payroll for our employees have continued, and this is due to our dedicated staff. So I'm very proud of what they've done. If we can look at our cash sheets, if you look at the education fund, the first thing that looks a little bit different than normal is the payback to the co-op. A lot of times we go back and think of Westlake's. This is not a payment. This is a career center payment, so that we're making a payment on our students that are going to the career center for classes. You'll see also in our an increase in our cash balance with the 2-pay month. We had a nice healthy increase in pay or increase in cash balance, and that's all with moving our first amount of money, $100,000 over into rainy day from the education fund this month. If we go to the operations.
Did we also see our, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go to the operations fund. The one thing I need you to start, what you will notice is we do have a significant drop in our interest. Obviously, we know what those reasons are. I see that's going to be something that's going to happen over the next month, and it's going to drop more and more. If we look at our expenditures, they drop by approximately $150,000 from last month, and that is mainly due to last month we did purchase a bus. Other than that, it's very consistent from February to March. If I looked at the referendum fund, really, the referendum fund is, there is no revenue in the referendum fund for the month of March, and everything is extremely consistent. All three of these funds are right on track with what we projected they would be at this time. So there's no major variance at all. Normally, I would stop after those three cash balances, but I did want to mention Governor Holcomb issued Executive Order 20-05, which allows for property tax waivers for up to 60 days past May 11, 2020. This is likely to have a significant impact on our tax draws and cash flows for some of our funds. So I do want you to know we're looking at every option out there, what plans we're going to do. I'm actually going to listen to an online seminar on Thursday, and we will have some ideas or decisions for you very soon on that. We are not sitting back and waiting for it to happen. We're going to make sure we're proactive and ready for everything. I will say the work that the board and the superintendent has done to build up our cash balances has really put us in a good position for what's happening on right now. And I guess that's my financial report for March.
Questions?
How are count estimates going to be done for next year? And are we still doing kindergarten roundup?
Kindergarten roundup, that may be for Yvonne.
Okay.
Yes, we are still doing kindergarten roundup. We actually have a spreadsheet that Debbie and I keep, and we work with our elementary principals to track how many incoming kindergartners we suspect we will have. So we still are going to do kindergarten roundup. It may be a situation where we have to do a different way in terms of actually getting them their information at the very start, but we are still doing kindergarten roundup.
Is it about on track with where it would usually be, or is it impacted, and is it going to impact our estimates for next year's counts?
Based on the information I have, and if Steve wants to chime in, he can, but based on the information that we have in our Google, it looks like we are on track in a similar fashion that we were last year at this time.
Great.
I can comment on at least the estimates of the counts for next year. We went through these before, we went through the estimates before the whole COVID-19 pandemic was hit the United States. We used numbers for next year. We estimated a loss of 20 to 25 students in the kindergarten just to be safe. And then we used all of my numbers that I have from my spreadsheet, and I'm pretty close with those. So we're pretty good with what we're going to be estimating next year. I think our estimate we gave to the DOE is going to be about 20 students less than what we probably end up. So we're very conservative with that estimate. But we had that already completed before anything else hit. So we have finished all the kindergarten roundups. So I took into account, like I said, lowering those numbers by about 25 total students in our estimate for next year.
And Melissa,
thank you.
That is a great point. We do not know exactly what the pandemic is going to do to the numbers because, like Mr. Trippenfeld has said, that was the numbers beforehand, but time will tell.
Any other questions for Mr. Melby? Okay, thank you, Mr. Melby. Item 5.1, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Hendricks.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to thank all of the folks who have worked really hard to get us where we are today. For example, right now, the fact that we're using technology to run this meeting is something we haven't done in the past. We've been doing a lot of the Zoom meetings, and that's been very helpful for us as a team to practice our social distancing and physical distancing. We've put in place a lot of safeguards when people go into the buildings in terms of wearing masks and gloves. I will say that the preparation over the last meeting we had, where we had a physical meeting, to what we have now virtually here is, in fact, because of the COVID-19, now we've had to change the way we provide instruction to our students. Our teachers have worked very hard and done a great job, and we're getting a lot of feedback, good feedback from our parents, that they feel like what we're doing in terms of providing instruction through e-learning has been very effective for our students. They're still feeling like they're being challenged, and it's a good process for us. I think we're learning from it. You know, not everything is perfect. I know our first day we had a little bit of technology issues, but we got through that. And as far as I know right now, we're still doing very well technology with delivering instruction to our students. I will say that the team itself, the central office team and the administrative team, have worked very hard. Bill pointed out the business department has been coming in staggering schedules to get all the work done to keep us making sure we're paying bills and making payroll. And then, of course, our custodians are coming in, checking the buildings. And we have our maintenance team going out and still fixing things when they get broken. We're also staying on top of all the projects we've had. We've had a lot of projects going on this year, and we tried to start it a little bit earlier, but again, there's always some challenges in that respect too, getting some things started. But it's going along very well. I know our new building that we're putting up behind the middle school, it's already rough plumbed, and we are now waiting for steel, and luckily we believe is going to arrive in first week of May, around May 8th, I guess. So we're looking to start seeing the bones of the building go up here soon, and so that's moving on course. Some of the other issues, we are trying to get supplies coming in from the different vendors. Some things have been challenging. I know we're looking at doing some work on the south part of the high school this summer, and part of it was having HVAC units coming in on time, and right now that's a month delay. So we're not sure if we're going to be able to get those in time to get those in the south end of the building, but we will do it for next year. But there's other things we're going to be working on as well, and that's why we moved on to things like parking lots. So we want to make sure we continue to move forward. I think the biggest thing that people may start noticing is that we've got a new football field, new practice field, and the baseball diamond is getting a new infield skin to it, and they're working on that, getting that pretty much in place. I think that's probably almost the last field. It's going to take a little bit longer to get that in place. But overall, I can't tell you how proud I am of all of our teachers, our administrators, our support staff. I mean, I'm just telling you, everybody has stepped in. Our support staff is supporting the teachers and the students, being there, calling to make sure kids are basically logging in. If they're not logging in, we're calling to find out why they aren't logging in. We've got our tech folks out there working a couple days a week to collect any computers that aren't working properly, swapping them out. So they've been an outstanding job. Kurt, Jeremy, Kevin, all of that group out there doing an outstanding job. So I got to say, it's been a real team effort, and everybody's stepped up and done a fantastic job. So very proud of them and the work they're doing, and really proud of our teachers who have stepped up, and many of them are using technology for the first time to really deliver instruction to students in their homes, and it's working out well so far. So it's going well. So that's what I have to report today.
And I think we would like to thank you too, Dr. Hendricks, for all that you have done during this crazy time. Your leadership has been much appreciated, and it trickles down through the whole district. So we very much appreciate it. Thank you. Announcements. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be May 11th at 7 p.m. Stay tuned for virtual versus on-site. Item 6.2, can I get a motion to adjourn?
John Doherty moves that we adjourn.
Second, John Castro.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're done.
All right.
Thank you all.
Castro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Log out.
All right.